guys, and welcome to the Sunderland vs West Brom match preview. So Sunderland do welcome West Brom to the Stadium of Light on Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, and it's going to be yet another really difficult game. I know I say that every preview, and that is going to continue for the remainder of the season because the quality in this league has to be said. It's very good. It's a very tight, it's very quality league this season, as it is most seasons anyway in the Championship. But West Brom are no exception. They're a very solid team. They're currently unbeaten in 8, albeit they've drawn 7 of those 8 games. But still, they're still not being beaten, a bit like us, where we've drawn the last 4 games and we're unbeaten in 9. So it's going to be a really interesting game at the Stadium of Light. And they have their own threats, of course, welcoming the likes of Josh Maggio back to the Stadium of Light. And he's on fire this season. I think he scored last time out as well. They drew with Norwich 2-2. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. We usually give him a bit of stick, and he gets in a few battles with us, as he has done over the last couple of years. I think who injured? I think it was Dan Ballard, wasn't it, who injured him for a considerable amount of time, which it's never nice to want that to happen. I mean, no one wants that to happen, but of course it is nice to see a crunching challenge against a former player. It's just the way the world, it always happens. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult game. I'm a big fan of their coach. They don't get beat very often, as I've alluded to. But with us, of course, now, coming off the back of the game against Millwall, of course, if you watch the reviews of that game, it did come across very negative. But I'm just going to say this again, and I know I'm repeating myself a little bit, but I do feel like I need to remind some people this again. When I'm doing reviews, it is just an isolated review of that game. Regardless of whether we're top of the league or not, there's a lot of comments that still come in saying, why are you moaning, we're top of the league? You know, if we got beat 4 or 5-0 and we're still top of the league, does that mean I need to sit there for 10 minutes doing a review, just smiling and saying, everything's great, it's all perfect, we're top of the league? Do you know what I mean? That just isn't me, and I'm not going to bullshit you. But yeah, so I just need to remind you of that. You know, I'm telling you what happened in that game, in my opinion, of that individual game, an isolated performance. And of course, in that game, there was a couple of concerns, and there has been a few negatives that I'm going to bring up. But I will, alongside that, say the positives. And like I say, when I make these reviews, they are straight after a game, so passion is high, emotions are high, and there's probably a couple of things that I did miss out because nothing is scripted. I just press record and bang, away I go. So there were probably a couple of things like, there were some more positives that I probably just failed to point out until after I stopped recording. I think, oh shit, I should have said that. For example, I think my ender, I only alluded to it in the review of the game. I think he was outstanding. He was absolutely fantastic on that right hand side, and I thought, shit, how's he going to get on the wing? And he looked outstanding. He was just so pacey, so direct. There was a handful of times where I will say, like I said, I do look at the flip side. His first touch sometimes lets him down a little bit. Sometimes when a pass is played short to him, rather than sort of actually still trying to get there, even though the pass is a bit short, he will sort of do that thing we got like that, and then he'll just stop and he'll kind of moan a little bit, rather than actually trying to get on the ball still. So there were a couple of things like that, but in turn, he was outstanding going forward. He was so direct, so quick, so skillful, and he was just flying past their left back time and time again, particularly in that first half. And he did make a chance in the second, but like I said, the only chance we had was my ender chance from the edge of the box, which he's done well, and he's put it to the keeper. Well, it was a pretty simple save down to the keeper's left, and then we had the chance with Alexis last minute, but other than that, we didn't create enough, and that was my concern. And we're seeing this pattern of getting ourselves in the lead, and then instead of just trying to really put them to the sword and go for another, we're coming out on second halves and we're coming out 10 yards deeper and we're sitting back, no one's pushing out, and it's just kind of pumping it away and just hoping that something happens up top, and no one's committing forward. It's overly cautious, and I've seen in comments, saying it's good to be cautious. It is, I totally agree with that, particularly when you try to protect a lead, but not inviting pressure. There's a difference between being cautious and throwing out your attacking game plan and then just sitting back and inviting pressure. And against a good team like Millwall, you're going to get punished, and we did. Unfortunately, Dhannoo, I think he actually generally, particularly in the first half, he had a very good game. And there was bits and pieces of Dhannoo that we just don't see enough, and we did see it against Millwall when we were kind of in the first half. He'd get back, dig in, and then he'd drag us forward, and he'd burst forward and spread the play really neatly instead of just sort of footing the ball, look up, turn back and pass it sideways, which is sometimes a frustration with Dhannoo, but he was fantastic in that sense. And to be fair, in the second half, as much as I do, and I did bitch and moan about how defensive we were and how much we just sat back, we did defend very, very well for large parts. Maybe a bit fortunate with the odd free-header they had here and there, but in large parts we did put in a battling performance, which I did say in the review to the game, but we did defend very, very well. It was just, there was nothing else really being added. There was just sort of Isidore and he had Alexic up top and Meander just kind of stood up there just waiting for something to happen whilst everyone else was miles away. So there was no one was close enough. There were just big gaps. What they were isolated. We just made it really difficult for ourselves, in my opinion. It's just trying to find that balance. And like I said, we did defend very well until that last second where it just all fell to pieces. And that was the frustration. But going into this game, of course, we have our suspensions coming back, which I'm very, very happy about. Job, I can't wait to get him back in the team, and he deserves to get back in the team. He was, or has been, one of our players of the season so far. Hume is coming back. Roberts is back as well. Sirkin, of course, missed out against Millwall because apparently he broke his wrist in the game earlier on in the season, and then during the international break they decided it was best for him to have some minor surgery, so he might be back. I'm not too sure whether he is or not. But I am going to give you my preferred 11 for this game. There's a couple of variations, but I will just give you this one and I'll talk you through it. So if you have a look, this is what I would go with. Patterson would be in goal. Now, this is the defensive unit. It's very difficult. If Sirkin was back, even though he's probably been one of our players of the season as well, probably the best left back in the league. However, on the back of Alessi's performance against Millwall, I think it would be stupidly unfair to drop him. So I would keep Alessi there. I think he was absolutely outstanding at left back. Now in the middle, again, this is difficult because I don't really want to drop Ballard. But Mepham and O'Nien, there's no reason to drop either of them. They've got a good defensive unit there. Now, to get a natural right back on the pitch, we needed that, even though O'Nien didn't really put foot wrong too much anyway in that game against Millwall. Hume would return to the lineup for me anyway, and Ballard would have to drop to the bench. And it is a good headache to have. And I think in the long run, maybe Ballard would partner with Mepham. I don't know. But O'Nien has had an outstanding season. And it's good to see when I've seen people online have been posting their preferred 11s, which of course is their opinion. But some people have dropped Luke O'Nien to accommodate Ballard. And it's good to see that other people are saying, oh no, absolutely not. You can't drop O'Nien. Which I'm glad that people are really seeing his ability now. Because before there were so many people that getting his back. Says all he does is bring a smile to the team, which is a quality in itself, but no one really gave him the praise he deserved for the player he's become. And he is, for me, he's invaluable. You can't drop him. So that would be my back four for the time being. I actually wouldn't be against seeing O'Nien at right back and Ballard in there again, but I just think having that natural right back in Trey Hume would be essential there. Then in the middle, Job would absolutely come back for me. Dan Neil. And then Chris Rigg as well, probably even Dan Neil is more of the anchor, and then Bellingham and Rigg either side and pushing forward as they do. But then up top, this is where it was a bit difficult. Of course, Connolly did come off. It was a bit of a confusing one with Connolly because he had a very good game. I thought he had a decent game. And of course, he got his first goal, which I'm buzzing for him with. But he come off with not so, I think 10, 20 minutes left, whatever it were, and obviously Alexic come on. But Connolly come off, so he was kind of like clutching his calf and then immediately was signalling to be taken off. But then after the game we were told that he was complaining of his vision was going a little bit blurry because he took a knock to the head, and he was saying his vision was a bit blurry, but on the pitch he was clutching his calf. I don't know whether he just did that so he had a reason to go to ground, so then the ref would sort of stop the game to let him go off type thing. I don't know, but that was a bit of a confusing one, so I don't know whether he's ready or he'll be okay. If not, this is what I would go with. Watson had a very, very good game on the left hand side, particularly in the first half, so I would like to give him his sort of home debut there on the left hand side. Mayenda again, I mean, I want to put Roberts back in. I do. I want to because it's against a solid, experienced West Brom side. Roberts would absolutely fit the bill to play that because he's a clever player. But Mayenda, he was just that dangerous, particularly in the first half and in moments in the second against Millwall, that I'd feel awful dropping him, and I don't think he needs to be dropped. And then of course you get Isidore up top as well. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could probably maybe try Mayenda on the left hand side and then put Roberts on the right and drop Watson to the bench for the time being. I don't know. I don't know whether he is going to go with a similar formation in terms of putting Connolly and Isidore up top again. I don't know, but I would be comfortable with this if I'm going to be totally honest. And again, Mayenda was a surprise to me, seeing him come off the right-hand side and being as good and as dangerous as he was. I think that might actually be better suited than being up top, but I would be happy with this, given the sort of injuries and the potential injuries with Connolly and stuff like that. This is probably what I'd be very comfortable with. But of course, in the comments, let me know down below how you feel about this lineup and what lineup you would go with as well. But now for my score prediction. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to be positive. Do you know I'm going to be positive? After 4 draws on the bounce, and I think at least 2 of those games we should have won. We should have won, and I think Leeds have took over top of the league now after the crazy game last night. But the joint, I believe, but it's just goal difference. They're better at us, other than or better than us. Their goal difference is better. I think we should have probably got a couple of more wins over the last 4 draws, and that would have seen us a bit more clearer. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. But against West Brom, it's going to be very, very difficult, as I say all the time. They're a very good side, but I think being back on home soil, a few more players coming back, and I really think players like Mayenda, like Watson, at the Stadium of Light and stuff like that, Eastern thrives off the Stadium of Light as well. I think they're really going to want to put this right in terms of the last 4 games, and they're really going to want to put a smile back in the fans' face. I could feel it now. I just hope to God they don't do what they have done. Of course, I fully expect West Brom to have periods of play where they are dominant on the ball and they're making attacking threats and stuff like that. That's going to happen. It's going to happen most games. I'm not saying that we can't allow that to happen. It's going to. It's just if we do manage to control the play like we can do at home, and we do make a flurry of chances, and if we do get ourselves a goal up, I don't want us to come out in the second half, sit back and nullify any attacking threat. We need to go for it. Go for the jugular. Of course, being cautious, but don't just sit everyone back and just say for 45 minutes, come at us. Do you know what I mean? There's game management and then there's stupidity, and I think it borderlines stupidity doing that. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 Sunderland win, and I do think we're going to go a goal down before seeing an Isidore double in the second half, which completely goes against what I said was going to happen, because I think if they score first, we're going to have to come out, which is what I mean, rather than us scoring first and then sitting back. I think it's going to be roles reversed. I'm confusing myself here, but there we go. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Sunderland win, and I'll be happy. I will say, by the way, I'm actually working tomorrow during the game. I'm not back home until the following day. I've seen a few people, going off topic here, but a few people say when I say I'm working, they say, why don't you just do it after work? I work 24-hour shifts, 10 a.m. until 10 a.m. the next day. So I'm starting at 10 a.m. Tuesday morning. I don't finish till 10 a.m. Wednesday morning. In fact, I don't finish till 1 p.m. So it's 24 plus hour shift. That I'm doing with my job, so it's impossible. I don't just do your normal 9 till 5, but I should be able to watch the game whilst at work sneakily, and then the following day I will get you a match review when I can. But yeah, so let me know in the comments down below what team you would go with, your score predictions and everything. Hit the like button for me. It is so appreciated. Please hit the like button. It shows that you're enjoying, and subscribe. There's still so many of you that aren't subscribed. I look at the stats, and there's literally 65-70% of you guys that are regular viewers and you're not subscribed. It means the world, so please hit the subscribe button. It's totally free. But for now, take care and stay jammy. Away the lads!